My name is Kiara Washington. I work for Texas Allied Anesthesia. We're all CRNA practice in Dallas, Texas. We go to about 14 surgery centers across DFW and growing every day. On a day-to-day basis, I use Imagine a couple different ways. As a director, I try to stay in the know about what my practice is doing, each person's job. So every day I'll touch something in Charge Central just to kind of see how Imagine's working, if it's working, what their workflow is pretty much. If there's any issues that they're having there, I usually will go into Imagine Pay at least once a day just to kind of see what the transactions have looked like for that day. I also use it to see how many payments have been reversed, if there are any credits, if we're having an overhaul of credits for whatever reason. That means we're over collecting, and I need to kind of figure out where the issue lies. I touch reporting every day. I need to see what everyone's touching, how often they're touching claims and patient accounts and things like that, just to make sure that they're using the system to the best of their ability, and also to ensure that the system is working to the best of its ability. The product that makes me feel like I hit the jackpot in Imagine would probably be maybe Imagine Pay, because that's my biggest, if we're not making money, what are we doing? And so it kind of helps me on a scale of how much are we collecting? Are we just coming to work to not do anything? Are we getting paid for the services that we're providing, essentially? So I would say if I had to choose something that makes me feel like I'm hitting the jackpot, I would say Imagine Pay, because I can see the money that's coming in, the patient accounts that are being worked, and it pretty much shows how much we're collecting on a scale of what we're collecting by ourselves and what the system is collecting. That sends the text messages to the patients and let them know. They send text messages and emails, I believe. And so in the system in Imagine Pay, I can tell who collected what, if it's based off of Imagine AI or if it's an actual person. And so what it does is it helps me realize how many people we need or what we no longer need in that area. I can't say the same for everyone's group, but the group of ladies that work for me in my business office love to see what it is that they're working for. And so I think in Imagine One, them being able to log in every day and see what our numbers are looking like, if we're increasing or decreasing, it's red and it pops out, right? If we're in the negative or something's wrong, I think that's really helpful. As far as the system itself, I do like that we don't have to go through fast review in Charge Central for anesthesia, just because it's one step that we don't. Once we've already confirmed everything, we don't necessarily need that information. I like that on the first page, the first landing page when you log in, it has all these options. Like, we don't have to click and look for FICure. We don't have to click and look for interface processing. It's just all there for us. So I do love how easy it is to click through the different systems that you guys offer. Statement processing is easy. Refunding a patient is easier in that system, and the way we post it is easier. We don't have to go through so many steps to get to the end result. So you guys have taken some of our feedback at the last conferences of, we don't need this step, so why are we here? And implemented in Imagine One. So I think it makes it that much easier to work with, because it's almost like it's tailored to what we've already asked all these years for Imagine OG, and now it's there in Imagine One. So I love that part. When you have everything on one landing page in Imagine One, and then you don't have to constantly log into each application, each website, it's, for any director, it's our dream, right? Because anyone can say, I had trouble getting into this website, or I had trouble finding, or this website did not load correctly, I could not find. It's always something. It just kind of stops all the little minute excuses from coming through in their day-to-day work. But also it's just easier on the eyes. No one has to search for anything. And when you're training a new person, that's gold because they don't have to remember to pull up ImaginePay. They don't have to remember to pull up FICure. They don't have to remember where their login is for this and how, what was that website again? Because originally I was copying like all of the website URLs to an Excel spreadsheet and just sending it to the ladies in training and saying, hey, these are all the websites you need on a day-to-day basis. So if you need these websites, this is where you go, this is how you log in, et cetera, et cetera. And now I don't have to do that. I'm like, just log in. This is your login for Imagine One. And here's your landing page. And this is everything that I just told you you're going to need. So there's no extra explanation. There's no, I can't find, or that URL didn't work, or anything. I mean, I mistyped this URL and now I'm somewhere I have no idea. So it's just, it's gold in a director's eyes because I don't have to look for that information. I don't have to make sure they're looking in the right place. Imagine has helped me navigate AI and introducing it to my team by, number one, I always tell them it's job security. Everyone loves job security, but the biggest fear that I've realized in my position is that everyone's afraid of AI because they're afraid it's going to replace them. And I always tell them my goal is to not replace you in a sense, but to maybe help with your workflow and your workload as to not add more employees than we need. And to not overload you as my employee on the day-to-day tasks. So anything that's, that can be handled by AI needs to be handled by AI. And Imagine has helped in that instance because it just takes the little things that they don't already want to do, but they don't know that they don't want to do it yet until you're saying, hey, the system can do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do this task. Specifically with the way that Imagine AI learns about payments and the payments processing. And so initially we go in and kind of enter in our own rules and then it just kind of learns as we go, right? Our payment processor loves it because now she doesn't have to sit and look at every single thing. It just drops into a bucket for her to touch and she's like, okay, this is what I need to work. I can focus on the problem cases instead of things that could be fixed initially. So I think Imagine has helped in so many ways with the AI in letting them know like it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It's gonna help you. You just have to let it. And maybe that opens the doors for, another job title or another something big in the company that we don't know that we need right now because we haven't had time to focus. So I kind of try to, pose it to them that way. Like, you don't know what we need we don't know what we need until, we're free to think. And I think Imagine AI allows us to think outside the box because it's thinking inside the box for us. So we can think outside without having to worry about the things that are going on inside because it's doing it for us. In Imagine reporting, I track lots of things. So my biggest thing that I track are claims, claims billed, claims processed, claims denied, and things like that. Because like I said earlier, we want to know where we're losing money. Are these procedures being paid? What is it that we're doing that's hurting us essentially? And funny enough, in Imagine reporting, we found out some of our pain cases were not, like just from pulling a report of claims denied for, X reason, we learned that some of our pain cases were not being paid for anesthesia. They were denying for, I think, none, not necessary. We haven't met medical necessity on those claims. And so it allowed us to take a step back and say, hey, surgeon, do you really need anesthesia for these claims or for these cases, or are you just want us there for moral support? Some surgeons we've learned don't necessarily need us, but they like to have us there just in case the patient's freaking out and things like that. But Imagine reporting helped me catch that and allowed me to go to the surgeons and say, hey, do you really need us for every single case? And now we ask the patients, how do you feel on a level, on a scale of 1 to 10 about needles? Like, how do you feel about these pain injections without anesthesia? And so I would say about half and half are okay with it, and some are not, you know. Um, but it allowed me to catch that, and we save money there now, so that helps. But I also track it as far as productivity. I track all the ladies' productivity because I don't want each one of my employees to feel like they're doing all the work by themselves. And it's easy to feel that way without having the metrics to follow, right? So anyone can come sit at my desk. I have an open door policy. Anyone can come sit at my desk and say, hey, Kiara, I feel like I'm doing all the work by myself. And I say, okay, I will pull the reports and we'll go over them together. And usually I just pull their information and I pull everyone else's as well, but I take the names off of them because I want it to be neutral. I want them to understand that this is what the numbers show. So it helps give them peace of mind. Like, okay, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm just in my head about the situation. So, but it also helps me to make sure that my team is performing at the level that they're supposed to be performing at. And if they're not, I know where the issue is. Usually your reports are pretty good about pinpointing where the ball is being dropped in Imagine. And so I can easily say, okay, it's with this insurance company or it's this facility. Maybe it's documentation for this one, provider that I'm having an issue with because it's coming back and, medical records, need more medical records or need more information or something like that. But also it helps with case logs. In anesthesia world, we have to credential usually every year and a half at each of our facilities. Imagine Reporting allows me to pull reports for each of my staff members to provide to their credentialing companies and let them know, hey, we are doing cases. Each center has their own level of cases we need or number of cases we need to complete. And Imagine Reporting allows me to pull that without having to say, okay, hold on, let me check each level. So it works out. FiCure has helped the most by allowing us to see everything from start to finish. I believe the biggest issue that most providers have is not knowing what's going out of the system, what's coming into the system, and they're just stuck on the landing page or the home page of the EMR system, if you will, or the PM system. And FiCure allows you to see everything from start to finish. Did this claim even go out of FiCure when it was supposed to? It shows sent in Imagine, but FiCure doesn't show it was received or ever sent out of their system. So it allows us to track in a sense of making sure everything's done from start to finish and making sure that we're receiving what the insurance companies are saying we're receiving, but also that our PM system is working at the capacity that we're working. I also like that it allows you to search by patient in FiCure because sometimes I'm not looking for a remittance for 25 people because Blue Cross Blue Shield loves to send 25 people on one claim or one payment, and I don't want to necessarily search for every single patient. But FiCure allows me to dial into a specific account or a specific insurance or a specific data service. And I love that because if I'm looking for one specific thing, that's what I need, and FiCure allows me to see. Anesthesia is complex. So I always tell people when they ask, and especially patients, anesthesia is not based on one thing, just the code being billed. Anesthesia is based on two things, the code being billed and the time spent in the room with the provider. The PM system that we were on before, it was horrible in the sense that that system was not specifically built for anesthesia. So there were lots of things we could not track, reports we could not pull. We had to bill everything out in batches. We could not, just bill. If I have 5 claims but I'm waiting on one, I can't bill out these 5 claims until I get that one. And it would ultimately end in a lot of timely filings or a lot of denials, or it held us back a lot. And so that's why we ended up looking. And when I demoed Imagine, I was like, oh my God, they understand that anesthesia is not, it's complex. It's not one code or one surgery that needs to be done. It allows me to drop down so many ASA codes for a specific surgery code. So specifically for colonoscopies, there are 3 or 4 anesthesia codes that could go for each colonoscopy code. Imagine allows me to add in those codes essentially to each surgery code so that I'm not having to constantly say, hey, I have to manually build this claim because it's not an option. With Imagine, everything's an option. Like it's crazy to say that out loud, but everything is an option. Some of our claims in Athena we could not send out because there was no anesthesiologist assigned to it. In Dallas, Texas, CRNAs or anyone from an anesthesia practice doesn't necessarily have to be an MD. They can be an RN, they can be an anesthesia assistant, it can be a whole care team. Imagine allows you to make that known, that this is a care team. This is not just an MD. This is not just a CRNA or an anesthesia assistant. You have so many options at your fingertips so that your claim goes out in real time like it happened, right? In Athena, we could not do that. We could not put that information into the system. So a lot of our claims were manually billed and then having to be appealed at that moment when we got the denial, because we're like, hey, no, that's not, the system wasn't built for this. So there's no way for us to put it in there, but we have to send it out this way. So yeah, I think Imagine has grasped the concept that anesthesia is complex, and it has allowed us to either put just an MD or just a CRNA or both or a whole care team on one claim, and it builds it out on the HCFA form like it's nothing, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So I appreciate that more than anything, because it calculates the time, it calculates the units, the surgery code with those base units and things like that. So it's grasped definitely the concept of anesthesia and all its complexities. Oh, I mean, we're all different. Every practice is different, but Imagine does really good kind of checking in with each practice to say, hey, what do you need, or what are you struggling with that we can make easier? And I find that even when I just submit a ticket for anything that I'm like, hey, is this supposed to be this way? It's so many people that kind of chime in and say, oh, yes, but how can we make it easier for you? Or what can we do to fix it on your end that makes it easier on your team? So you guys aren't doing, taking more steps or doing anything. So it's, as a whole, it's really good to be a part of a PM system that takes you serious when you say, oh, this is not going to be good for my team, in the long run. We initially started looking for a new RCM system, new PM system. We were looking for a company that understood that we're not an MD only or a surgery practice. So we needed a company that was going to take into account that anesthesia is different, right? It's not just the surgery code. It's more than that. It's time. How are you calculating the time? Is there somewhere in your system where I can even enter the time? Because in Athena, there was not. We had to manually bill the units, and that's horrible because how do you know? Right? So every 15 minutes is a unit in anesthesia, and so their system, we had to calculate that by hand. Whereas, as in demoing some of these RCM systems, because Imagine wasn't the first one that we demoed, a lot of them don't quite understand, we need that time and we need the actual time print on the HCFA. They were in the room from 7 a.m. to 7:45. We need that on our system. When I finally got to Imagine in the demo, I was like, okay, they do understand. So, who told them? It was weird because I'm like, how do they know? How do they know? Because someone told me originally, Imagine was radiology. And I'm like, okay, they're complex too. So maybe that's why they understand. But it is something to take into account, making sure when you're demoing that you're talking to a company that understands what you're looking for and that's willing to go the extra mile with you and not just tell you that they are. A lot of you guys as clients speak for you. Whenever I was initially looking, they allowed me to talk to other clients outside of, that were in Imagine's group, and I was I was dumbfounded because nobody really wants you to talk to anyone else because it could be mixed reviews, right? You never know what product you're putting out there and how everyone feels about it, behind the scenes. Um, Imagine just swung the door wide open for us. They're like, who do you want to talk to? What do you actually do? We can put you on the phone with radiology, anesthesiology, anyone, that you want to talk to, and multiple people if you don't feel comfortable. And so for me, as the decision maker in that capacity, I was shocked, and also like, okay, I want to know more. I want to know more about Imagine, and I did research more because I was interested in a company that was willing to go that far to prove that they have a product that works and that gives you everything that you're looking for. And if it doesn't give you everything you're looking for right now, give us a chance. Let us try to use your knowledge and things like that. You guys don't box anyone in. You don't say, well, this is our system, and oh well, and I appreciate that. As a director, I appreciate that because nobody wants to feel like I'm paying for a system that doesn't help me. And that's originally where I came from, and the reason we decided to leave. But as a whole, the Imagine's been great in initially giving us what we needed to feel comfortable making the switch. And there was a whole process. Okay, so it wasn't, overnight. We didn't make the switch overnight, but you guys were very patient. So to anyone that's looking for a new RCM system, definitely take into account that Imagine's willing to work with you. They're willing to work with your practice to make sure that the system gives you everything that it needs, to go above and beyond, to help you feel like the system is working for you and not against you. And as a director, my biggest thing is FTEs, right? We don't want to continue adding. We want to keep who we have and add where we need. And Imagine has allowed me to be efficient in that aspect of it. So.